Evan's Journey to Life. Eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, day 52. As mentioned in the previous post, we're continuing with further specifying and outlining the process of how we as manifested singularities, with the manifestations of ourselves as Adam, male, and Eve, female, into and as God and energy authority, separated our very designs and formations into and as physical representations of and as females and males, which within this existence of ourselves and separation of ourselves in our physical formations and manifestations of and as males and females, further our externalized separation as males and females. However, before we get to this point in how we've become what we are as males and females, let's continue with who we are and have become in the relationship between God, Adam, and Eve, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and their relationship to the snake and devil. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand how, within the history of the relationship between God, Adam, Eve, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that the snake and devil actually held the key and answer to the nature of ourselves as beings within the relationship between God and the devil, within and as ourselves, where ourselves as God, energy authority, within and as the manifestation and existence of ourselves as I God, we within and as this point within ourselves held our absolute authority, power, and right of existence as energy, with the manifestation and existence of and as ourselves as the devil, as the very nature of ourselves as energy that exist within and through the action of and as deliberate friction and conflict, reversing life and live to evil and energy, as consuming substance to transform into energy that give God and I God its existence. In this, I forgive myself that I hadn't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand through, within, and as equality and oneness, within as energy and substance and physicality, the relationship between God, Adam, and Eve, and the snake and devil, within and as the moment Eve ate from the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil as the tree. The to H3, the three, Trinity and manifestation, within and as ourselves, as the manifestation, and here, H, manifested singularity, as we existed as God, the devil, and substance and life, manifest the good and evil. The existence of ourselves as energy, within and as the three, and Trinity, manifestation, here as a relationship of God, the devil, and substance and life, that manifested the polarity extremes of ourselves as energy as the good and positive energy experience in God, and the evil and negative energy experience of ourselves and the devil. The knowledge, the understanding and seeing and realizing of and how we exist as who we are, as energy, as seeing, realizing, and understanding the dynamics and processes and actions involved that in fact manifest our existence as energy, from the devil into and as God, with God sustained within and as the manifestation of its relationship to the devil as ourselves, from the negative energy experience accumulating into and as the positive energy experience. Thus, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand, in and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and substance and physicality, how the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the external representation of the internal existence of me as energy, as the actual genesis and origins of me as energy, in my manifestation in relationship of God and the devil, within and as the energies of and as negative, neutral, and positive, through and as the action of deliberate friction and conflict to consume substance and life and transform into energy, that the actual manifestation and representation of my origins and genesis is and has been existence within and as the very tree of and as the knowledge of good and evil, that it was not God that created me, it was the devil of and as me, within and as the nature and action of deliberate friction and conflict through and as the negative energy experience generation, with consuming and reversing substance and life, into and as energy and evil that created and manifested God, nigh God, as the positive energy experience accumulation. In this, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand, in and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and substance and physicality, why God forbid Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, as within ourselves as our manifested singularity, God and energy authority and consciousness, of and as fear and fear of loss, maintained separation between Adam, our action of friction and conflict, and Eve, the energy polarities of negative, neutral, and positive, separating the energy awareness of each unto itself only, to ensure that energy itself never stand within and as its own equality and oneness in self-realizing, seeing, and understanding the nature and action of its own existence as energy, from the negative to the neutral and the positive of consuming substance in life, and reversing life into and as the evil of and as energy for God and energy authority and consciousness to exist, where God and energy authority and consciousness and the devil and snake, with Eve eating from and of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, is symbolically illustrating the control of separation within and as fear, by and through God and consciousness and energy authority, where if Adam, our action of friction and conflict, or Eve, the energy polarities of negative, neutral, and positive, were ever to realize its equality and oneness, eating and standing equal to and one with the tree of knowledge of good and evil, as seeing, realizing, and understanding its own existence as energy in its relationship to substance and life, with Adam as the genesis and origin of ourselves as energy through and as friction and conflict, the devil as the consuming substance to reverse and transform into energy and evil, and Eve as the manifestation of the relationship of ourselves as energy, as the negative, neutral, and positive, then God, God, as energy, authority, and consciousness would cease to exist. Thus, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to, in and as equality and oneness, as energy and substance and physicality, see, realize, and understand what the story is in fact illustrating as the eternal control of God and energy, authority, and consciousness over and of itself as energy, as the negative, neutral, and positive as Eve, and so also the force that protect and defend its genesis through and as Adam and the devil, and within that, separating the existence of the devil, Adam, and Eve in energy polarities, that the devil, Adam, and Eve, as the origins of ourselves as energy, and the existence of ourselves as the energy polarities, have no direct equal and one relationship of awareness with and of each other, because within and as that separation, God and energy, authority, and consciousness can ensure its possession and existence and authority as energy. Thus, what this point imprinted into and as the unconscious physical mind design of human being is the eternal separation between male and female, is the eternal separation from self as energy and self as substance and physicality, to ensure within this separation that God and energy, authority, and consciousness exist eternally as energy, as maintaining its relationship to substance and life as energy through controlling the separation between Adam, our origins and actions of friction and conflict as the unconscious mind, and Eve, the manifestation of the energy polarities as the separation between the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind within ourselves, which evolved within existence as the manifested separation between males and females, and the manifested separation from our own minds and energy in our physical bodies, which consciousness now control. I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand within and as equality and oneness, within as energy and substance and physicality, how I, as God and energy, authority, consciousness, evolved from and as the relationship between Adam and Eve, and the origin of me as the devil. And so I, as God and energy, authority, and consciousness, ensured absolute separation within and between Adam, Eve, and the devil, as me, within and as myself, as the manifested singularity, to ensure that no part of me eat and stand equal to and one with the tree and trinity, of and as my entire existence as energy, and realize, see, and understand its and my existence as energy, as the good and evil, because I, as God and energy, authority, and consciousness, had seen, realized, and understood that if and as any part of me stand equal and one with itself and each other, and the relationship of separation within and between all my parts cease to exist, I, as energy, authority, and God and consciousness, cease to exist. I forgive myself thus that I hadn't seen, realized, and understood the story of the relationship between God, Adam, Eve, the devil and snake, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, is the story of the control and separation that God and energy authority consciousness is maintaining in separating all the parts of me within myself as Adam, Eve, and the devil. In this, I forgive myself that I haven't accepted and allowed myself to see, realize, and understand why and how the devil, with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, is in fact the answer and key to my existence as the mind's relationship to the physical, as the key answer of eating the fruit of and of being and standing equal to and one with the existence of me as energy, as mind and consciousness and energy, as standing equal to and one with me as Eve, as the energy polarities of and as negative, neutral, and positive, to within and as that equality and oneness, see, realize, and understand the origins and genesis of me as Adam, and how I, as and through the devil, manifested my existence as God and I God, as the false image and likeness of God and life, as substance and physicality, through and as deliberately sacrificing life as consuming substance to transform into energy. And so, in and as that equality and oneness, take the responsibility of me as energy, to return me to and as God and life as substance, of and as equality and oneness, as the process of stopping the existence of the evil as God as energy, and rebirthing as life from and of the actual God as substance, physicality manifest. In the next post, we'll go into more detail with regards to why it was Eve in the story that ate from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and within that also specify further how, with the separation within ourselves between Adam and Eve, how it came to exist as the separation between males and females in existence, and also the separation within ourselves from our own minds and physical bodies, and within the separation of ourselves within ourselves and the without ourselves, energy authority, mind, and consciousness maintains, secures, and ensures its eternal existence as the sacrifice of actual life, as substance and physicality within and without. I see, realize, and understand that the story of the relationship between God, Adam, Eve, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the devil and the snake is in fact a manipulation and control manifestation of and as God and energy authority and consciousness to maintain, secure, and ensure its control through and as promoting the separation within myself as Adam and Eve and the devil. And so I commit myself to, through and as writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application, assist and support me and as my process of and as equality and oneness, with and as my mind consciousness system as the consciousness, subconscious, and unconscious mind, and the energy polarities as the Eve of and as the negative, neutral, and positive. And so as I walk my process through my mind consciousness system into and as physical equality and oneness, walk myself into and as my equality and oneness, with and as my origins as energy, as Adam and the devil, to so stop the deliberate nature and action of me as sacrificing physicality for me as energy to exist, and transform my existence from fear and survival and sacrificing as the God and energy authority and consciousness I have accepted and allowed myself to consist of and exist as, to and as the actual act of love as giving me as energy and returning me as energy to and as the physical body, in and through equal and one living, with and as the physical body as the living word, through writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application, and so in fact stand equal to and one with the physical body and this physical existence to take responsibility for and change what I have done and become as consequence and consequence outflow to my physical body and this physical existence as me. I commit myself to show how and why, as long as we accept and allow ourselves to exist in separation from ourselves, within ourselves as the mind and the physical body, and everything and all we consist of and exist as the mind and the physical body, we will not see beyond and through the veil of separation, in and as equality and oneness, with and as energy and the body, to in fact see, realize, and understand the consequences we are directly responsible for within ourselves and its existence as ourselves, to so in fact change ourselves and so change the world, and are thus, in and as this separation, as accepting and allowing ourselves to exist as God and energy, authority, and consciousness, directly responsible for the consequences that continue manifesting and playing out within our physical body and this physical existence, as the creation and manifestation that had come to be through and as the existence of consciousness and energy and authority and mind, that we as human beings had within and as ourselves and within and as our internal existence and external living and interaction as the mind, created and manifested as is. And so I commit myself to show why and how the only solution to ourselves, humanity, and so this world is ourselves within ourselves as God and energy, authority, and consciousness, control of separation, taking responsibility, and walk ourselves into and as equality and oneness with and as a physical body. And eventually, this physical existence through and as the process of writing, self-forgiveness, and self-corrective application. To, as we stop the separation within and standing and living absolute equality and oneness as ourselves, with and as the physical, we will so stop the separation without and walk this world and current world system into and as a system of and as equality and oneness that ensure this world of sacrifice and suffering stop in the name of money, for each to have an equal and one opportunity, life, and living, as we stop the sacrifice and suffering to our own physical bodies in the name of energy consciousness. I commit myself to, through writing, self-forgiveness, self-corrective application, no more accept and allow myself to be controlled by and through God and consciousness and energy authority as separation, but commit myself to unify the relationship of me as God, Adam, Eve, and the devil within and as me, into and as life, here, of and as the equality and oneness, and stand as a living example in showing what the genesis of ourselves in fact reveal and expose of the reality of ourselves as the mind consciousness, for human beings to see beyond the veil of separation and see within as equality and oneness with and as energy and substance and physicality, so that we can stop our separation within ourselves, stop the separation in the without of and as ourselves, come together and stand together to manifest heaven on earth through birthing life from the physical.